Okay. Walter?
Gary, something I just saw, under fiscal impact in the CCNR, it says 96,000 from a particular line item for the city's 50% share of the project cost.
Yes.
And then it has the 1.5 million, of course, that we've all talked about. Explain the 96,000, would you please?
The 96,000 is included in that 1.5 million. It's
Okay.
not a different line item.
Okay,
It's
that
just-
was my
okay.
question. Should that read the 98,000 from our 50% share instead of for our 50% share? Does it make a difference? It just, I
Could
had
do
that,
that.
I had that question
Yeah.
too, Walter.
It's just explanatory. I mean,
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it until a moment ago and thought, that's
No, the
almost
96 is in-
$100,000.
96 will be taken from the 150. It's one of the project
So that
costs.
wordsmithing then, just changing the word for to from?
It doesn't need.
No,
to be-
Intent.
that's just a council information item. Changing the
Okay.
word is not part of the agreement, and I'm
Right.
perfectly happy with the
Okay.
verbiage that Gary has worked out with the proposed design firm.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Tom?
I was kind of just triggered to look at this. I hadn't done much on this thought until just now, but I looked at the map in the packet, and it's a 1998, concept drawing for the park. And I was remembering that there's actually a city right-of-way between Meadow and the subject property that I am just starting to wonder about. I'm now looking at an aerial photograph and see very clearly that there's a city right-of-way between the park and Meadow Street, I think it is. Is there any opportunity within this park development to include that right-of-way within the design, perhaps neighborhood access or, I don't know, something that would be at least useful to put into the mix? I mean, here's some value that the city would be adding, perhaps the property itself, and perhaps there could be some interesting design pieces that could come out of this as well. So I'm just wondering if that's been talked about.
If I may. The professional design folks realize that is, in fact, and I wish Les were here, whether it's a right-of-way or what it is,
Right.
whether it is something on a kind of like Alice Street is. That's what
Right.
we hope a right-of-way
Right.
would be if we ever
Right.
needed one. The discussion that was had at the ARC, just in passing, was might be able to integrate that in a pathway or something, allowing perimeter access around the fields. Again, it's an opportunity to try and tie all of these fields together in
Sure.
a way that, people, if you've got multiple fields, people are going to be going back and forth. You'd like to keep them on a path, if possible, to save the grass, if nothing else. So, yes, that's been discussed, Tom. Appreciate you bringing that up.
I just want to make sure that there's, some thinking early on in the process.
Thank you.
Great,
So
thanks.
that particular right-of-way was one of the found spaces that Tom Grundon and the Paradise Path Task Force had looked at.
Okay.
So it's on the radar.
Okay. Walter?
Another comment at the ARC regarding that access was a possible maintenance access.
Yep. Sure.
I don't think yet, at least not yet, it's being talked about as a public access. The thinking at this time, as I heard it, was that it would not be a second access in addition to Joseph Street, but it would be accessible and usable for maintenance or other, like you say, people to walk in and out and so forth.
Not vehicular access.
Yeah, not a vehicular, because the parking lots at this point don't line up.
Right.
Following up, if I may, on
Please.
Tom's comment about the 1998 Playfield Master Plan, that is the starting point of what the design professionals will start working from, but the public process that they are going to go through rather quickly will include reaching out to any and everyone and group that has an interest in this field, so that whether or not we can make it work in the long run in terms of putting, a sport that we haven't thought of yet on it, we want to take a look at it and work on the opportunities. It is not a huge site. It's big when you look at it, but when you try to start fitting these large play fields on it, it gets smaller really quick. And the other thing, Tom, that's being talked about already is engineering is looking at, and you've mentioned this, I think, at the height, if not width, of the dike on the west side. I've had Les comment to me that it's believed that the size of that is a product of the dirt that came out of the non-canal, the overflow canal that's out there, and that possibly the size of that could be reduced and give us more field room while maintaining the floodway that we need.
If I may make one more comment.
Please do.
Before the council votes. I appreciate Walter's comment about how the stakeholders will be polled or asked to the process. Council and the Moscow School District, as well as the community, gave us a time frame that was very aggressive, and we intend on meeting that time frame. Make no mistake about it, though, that once this is constructed, those fields will need a significant amount of time before they are playable. So it could be as late as spring of 2016 before you can have regular events on them. Everybody, including all of the design professionals we talked to, indicated that the recipe for disaster is to put drainage in, plant young grass, and then tear it up before it's ready to be played upon. So our Parks and Rec Department's well-versed in that, and we'll be working with Moscow School District. But that's one of the reasons we're trying to move this ahead as quickly as possible so we get the full growing seasons that we need to make those fields playable as quickly as possible.
Any other discussion or questions for Gary? How would the council like to proceed?
Madam Mayor,
Walter?
I would make a motion that we approve the proposed contract with Design West Architects as presented in the packet, with the addition of the sentence in paragraph 4.4 that was read to us by the city supervisor, and that we transmit our approval to the Moscow School District for their consideration and execution of the contract.
Second that.
Okay, we have Walter's motion and Tom's second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll start the roll call vote with you, Dan.
Aye.
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 Okay, and that motion carries unanimously. Thank you.